This video is related to video I uploaded yesterday, this one. So here is mentioned, in that video is mentioned VOJIN KRSTIC, who was, I don't know if he is still a lawyer of Katastar Smederevo. So this is state institution which deals with ownership of properties and other stuff, part of Geodetic Institute of Serbia. So I explained in that video I published yesterday how military intelligence waited 5 months for me to spend all the money, and then they tried to bribe me. And this is this is related to this video. I asked 3 banks where I had accounts why they gave my personal data to military intelligence. They haven't answered. It's more than 15 days now. So in this video there are 2 questions which I haven't answered. So for one of these 2 questions is a decision that is mentioned by VOJIN KRSTIC in his decision on changing ownership of the property. So he mentioned decision related to my late father's inheritance proceedings. In that inheritance proceedings, judge committed major frauds. So I explained that in other videos. I'm not going to go into details now. So VOJIN KRSTIC mentioned, this is explanation of that change of ownership. So basically ownership, giving parts of property to me and my brother was okay, but it was not okay to give monstrous murder of my family 1/3 of the property. That was the problem. So he mentioned here that decision on inheritance proceedings. So decision of inheritance proceedings, court decision, became final on 29th of July 2020, but he didn't explain what was the whole thing about. So he is referring here to decision of higher instance court, who decided on my first complaint on frauds, related to frauds of Judge Dejan Adamovic, who was acting on inheritance proceedings for my late father. So I'm going to explain here what else he forgot to mention. So he just stated here that the decision became final on that date and nothing else. What the other things he forgot to mention is 2 other complaints. So first complaint on this decision on complaint I mentioned, so 29th of July 2020. So that's called revision. So that's second complaint I filed, and there is 3rd complaint I filed, which was a complaint on the decision on revision. So I filed 3 complaints. He didn't mention that these facts, these 2 facts, he didn't mention them at all. And to make things worse, my last complaint was the decision on my last complaint was made on June 2021, so 3 months after this decision was made. So this decision is made, as I explained in that video from yesterday, on 11th of March 2021. And I'm now going to show what he was referring to when he mentioned that date. So he was referring on decision of higher instance court on Smederevo on my complaint. So my first complaint on decision related to inheritance proceedings. So this is the date, 29th of July, and as can be seen here, and also I explained that in the video. So judges, panel of judges, 3 judges: Zorica Popovic, the president of the panel, then Judge Dragica Kovačević and Judge Lidija Jovanovska. So they stated here that I filed a complaint, but they didn't explain what was my complaint about. So I explained that in this video. So they did that twice, on my first complaint and on my third complaint, because second complaint was decided by judge who was in charge of inheritance proceeding, Judge Dejan Adamović. He committed major frauds. So Dejan Adamović. So there are a lot of videos about this guy. So VOJIN KRSTIC, lawyer of Katastar Smederevo, was referring to this decision, but he forgot to mention that judges didn't state it, forgot again, quoted, what was my complaint about. So my complaint was about Judge Dejan Adamović removing the part of minutes in final decision on inheritance proceedings. Actually, that was not final decision, because when you file a complaint, final decision is when you exhaust all possibilities, when you file all possible complaints. So when all decisions are made on those complaints, then this decision is considered final, I mean initial decision. So that was the complaint he was referring to, actually decision on complaint he was referring to. However, there was a revision, so second complaint on complaint, actually complaint on decision on complaint, which went through elementary court, and it was decided by Judge Dejan Adamović, who was in charge, as I mentioned, of inheritance proceedings. So that was on 6th of November 2020, and I'm going to show here when I filed that. So this is revision. I filed that revision to Supreme Cassation Court, but they illegally forwarded that to elementary court, and this is the video explaining that. So that was filed on 29th of September 2020, and as I showed, judge decided on 6th of November 2020. So 6th of November 2020, that's his decision. It says here Dejan Adamović, judge, and I have 15 days to file a complaint on decision on revision. So I filed 3 complaints on 3 decisions. So let's see when I filed the complaint on decision on revision. So this was on 27th of November 2020, and this was actually, sorry, so 15 days. I can show the whole thing. I mentioned here that judge removed part from minutes of inheritance proceedings, and that I filed it using by email, and finally nobody mentioned in that decision on my complaint that there was audio recording, which was actually the actual complaint, so first complaint. And now this is the complaint on decision on revision, 27th of November 2020. This first part is not that complaint, so this is complaint on decision on revision. So again, the date is November 27th of November. So there are a lot of things, and I filed this because this goes to higher instance court, but needs to go through elementary court, where the inheritance proceedings for my late father took place. And I also mentioned here that judge didn't send the audio recording, actually that was video and audio recording, to other 2 participants of inheritance proceedings with transcript. To this very date he didn't do that, and today is December 2023. So without sending this, because he didn't send the whole complaint to other 2 participants, they prevented them from filing complaint about that audio recording. And there are, I also mentioned here that, by the way, without that audio recording being sent to other participants, there could not be decision of higher instance court on my first complaint. So all these things are illegal, and judge of course didn't send this. He instructed staff not to send this because it proves that he brutally broke the law. And I also mentioned here that higher instance court in decision on my first complaint didn't mention what was my complaint about. So that was my 3rd complaint, and this is very important. So let's see when okay, I need to show this again. So my complaint on decision on revision was on 27th of November, and okay, this is not cached. And now I'm going to show when when higher instance court made their decision on my complaint on decision on revision. Okay, I mean, it sounds it sounds odd, but this is how things work. So this is their decision on my complaint on decision on revision. Okay, and it's 2nd of June 2021, and it says here also 2021. So let's see, it was 10th of March, almost 3 months after decision was made by Cadastre, after they changed ownership. So that was also illegal. So there are so many things that are illegal that it's simply unbelievable what those judges and people from real pieces of shit from Cadastre did. I mean, all of them are real pieces of shit. So they're protecting monstrous murder on my family. So that was the whole timeline of my complaints on decision of decision on judges of elementary, actually one judge of elementary court, Dana Damovic, who was in charge of inheritance proceedings, and the decision on judges of higher instance court of Smederevo. So there are 2 decisions. In both of these 2 decisions, as I showed in this video, they forgot quoted to mention what was my complaint about. So it says here that I filed a complaint, but they didn't mention that my complaint was about brutal frauds committed by Judge Dana Damovic. Okay, so this is what VOJIN KRSTIC forgot to mention regarding complaints on inheritance proceedings. So 3 complaints on 3 decisions, and there is, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there is another thing which I haven't explained yesterday, and that is why the decision on changing ownership of property, illegally changing ownership of property by VOJIN KRSTIC, lawyer of Katastar Smederevo, why it took 2.5 months for that decision to become final, but I will explain that in next video I'm about to create.